New details about the man accused of ramming the front gate of actress Jennifer Aniston's L.A. home this week.
Well, the L.A. County DA decides on charges against 48-year-old Jimmy Wayne Carwile. He is in LAPD custody. Law enforcement sources tell ABC News the investigation is now focused on possible stalking of Aniston, that it's believed Carwile had made numerous social media posts about Aniston before he showed up at her front gate, ramming it with his car. Aniston's armed personal security held him at gunpoint until the LAPD arrived and arrested him. Alex Stone, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Pakistan's prime minister says India will pay for airstrikes last night that Pakistani officials say killed at least 31 people. India says those strikes were in retaliation for a deadly terror attack in Indian-controlled Kashmir that killed more than 24 tourists. Pakistan denies involvement in that attack. ABC's Tom Sufi Burridge has more.
Skirmishes, tit-for-tat exchanges on the demarcation line between Indian-controlled Kashmir and Pakistani-controlled Kashmir is pretty common. But what we've seen from India, these missile strikes, not only into Pakistani-administered Kashmir, but also into Pakistan proper, are much, much different to that and a much, much higher level of escalation.
Germany's new government says it plans to beef up border police to help curb illegal migration and may turn away some asylum seekers trying to enter Europe's biggest economy. Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
Quiet down. Here she comes. Surprise! Your accountant just emailed to say your quarterly taxes are way higher than you were expecting.
At Progressive, we know small business owners don't usually like surprises because they cost you money. But a good surprise that could save you money? Getting discounts with a commercial auto quote from Progressive.
Also, your favorite employee is leaving. They're going to pursue their dream of being a veterinarian.
Surprise yourself. See if you can save in as little as 7 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Discounts not available in all states or situations.
News Talk 610 AM and 102.1 FM. KVNU.
Good afternoon. It's 4:05, and with your KVNU News headlines this hour, I'm Will Feelright. Well, a 28-year-old man has been arrested for allegedly unlawfully entering a Wellsville home and then refusing to leave, according to law enforcement. Ryan James Cooley was booked last week into the Cache County Jail. Now, according to an arrest affidavit, Cache County Sheriff's deputies were called to the Wellsville home on report of a man entering the residence and then remaining after being told to leave. Now, when law enforcement arrived in the area, Cooley was standing outside the home. Cooley reportedly told deputies he entered the home, and when the alleged victims asked him to leave, he refused to do so. He claimed to have been there to confront one of the occupants about alcohol abuse. Now, deputies noted in the probable cause statement that Cooley had been in a relationship previously with the two women. His presence allegedly caused considerable emotional distress. Now, no damage or injuries were reported. According to court records, Cooley was arraigned last Friday in Logan's First District Court, where he was charged with burglary of a dwelling, a second-degree felony, and 2 counts of stalking, a third-degree felony. Well, for those who travel along I-15, a major change is coming in Farmington as the Shepherd Lane overpass will be permanently closed. Now, the Utah Department of Transportation says it's demolishing the old bridge to make way for the new Shepherd Lane interchange. Now, east and west traffic on Shepherd Lane is being detoured to Burton Lane in Kaysville until the end of 2025, when the new Shepherd Lane interchange is expected to be opening for travel. Now, the new interchange will reportedly reduce congestion and also enhance safety in the area. A 10-foot wide shared use trail, new sidewalks, and a pedestrian bridge will also be added. Now, UDOT Region 1 Director Rob White said that as Davis County continues to thrive, they are working hard to provide everyone with better options to bike, walk, drive, and travel in the way they choose. Now, it's expected the new interchange is anticipated to open in 2026. And as we were talking about yesterday here on KVNU's For the People show, Utah Lieutenant Governor Deidre Henderson issuing a temporary stay that is keeping the Union Buster bill passed by the state legislature from becoming law. Now, she made the announcement yesterday in a social media post. The bill, officially known as House Bill 267, would block teachers, police officers, firefighters, and other public employees from collective bargaining contracts, essentially taking away state employees' rights to negotiate for higher wages. Now, a coalition called Protect Public Workers formed in response to the bill. They submitted 320,000 petition signatures that had been collected to force a ballot measure and let Utah voters decide. Now, in her official release yesterday announcing the temporary stay of the bill becoming law, she verified signatures had been submitted and exceeded the number of signatures required to certify the referendum. Now, county clerks and other election officials were ordered to continue certifying signatures. HB 267 was scheduled to become law today. Well, checking that weather forecast, Jason, I have to be honest, I was almost going to have you do the news on your own today because it has just been a gorgeous afternoon. And I'll tell you, I was kind of thinking about playing hooky this afternoon and getting out and enjoying some sunshine as we're going to continue to see temperatures just gradually warm up. Today we've been in the low 70s. Tonight we'll drop to around 47. Then tomorrow should be about 76 for our high, and then high 70s coming for Friday, low 80s still expected for the weekend. As Saturday, we're going to enjoy mostly sunny skies, but then a chance of some showers coming in on Sunday and for the first of next week with some thunderstorms rolling in. And KVNU News Time is now 4:09, and news and weather this hour brought to you by Quality First Insurance. If you're a business owner or HR director struggling with employee benefit packages, you need someone with options, and that's why Matt Robbins with Quality First Insurance is there. Give him a call, 752-0101. And I'm Will Feelright with your KVNU News Headlines.
Do you have a nasty weed problem? We have the right person for you. Sir, you work for Logan Extermination, don't you? Can you help these folks get rid of pesky dandelions?
Of course I can help. I am the Terminator. I will terminate those little yellow devils in your yard. Call me at Logan Extermination, 752-8450.
Terminate your weeds and green up your lawn for only $45, based on maximum 5,000 square feet.
The latest news, 24/7. News Talk KVNU 610 AM and 102.1 FM.
Daryl's Appliance is celebrating 55 years in Cache Valley. This is Jay from Daryl's Appliance. Guess what? It's also May is Maytag month, and we are teaming up to give you the best service to go with the big Maytag price breaks and rebates. Why buy Daryl's? Your neighbors say it's our service. Celebrating all month long at Daryl's Appliance, located west on Airport Road. Hurry in today and experience the Daryl's difference.
Do you know a champion in our community? Nominate them for the KVNU Above and Beyond Salute. Every Friday morning at 8:30, we'll spotlight a firefighter, law enforcement officer, healthcare worker, or other deserving individual and give them a $40 gift card to Firehouse Subs. Submit your nominations for the Above and Beyond Salute by visiting kvnutalk.com. Help us recognize the champions in our communities. The Above and Beyond Salute, sponsored by Firehouse Subs on News Talk KVNU, the voice of Northern Utah. KVNU's For the People with Jason Williams and Bill Walter.
And it is Utah known as the fraud capital of the world. Not because we have more people committing fraud, but because we have so many people falling for it.
Going beneath the headlines and connecting you to the newsmakers.
The radio is a great way to get the word out to a lot of people in an emergency. So we thank you for your help and being a partner with us.
For the People on News Talk KVNU 610 AM, 102.1 FM, online at 610kvnu.com and on the KVNU mobile app.
Welcome to KVNU's For the People. It is Wednesday, May 7th. I'm Jason Williams. And Will, it could have been a bad scenario. I was considering playing hooky as well. 67 degrees here at 4:11 in the afternoon, feeling like early summer instead of mid-spring. No complaints for me whatsoever. And warmer temperatures coming too. Could spell, well, a little bit of trouble for our snowpack. We'll talk about that later on in the show. But as I mentioned, things are still looking pretty good here in northern Utah, and for those curious, Will and I both, neither one of us played hooky. Well, as you can hear, I'm here, he's here, but it's pretty tempting, right? You get a little. The cabin fever never hits me in the wintertime. I don't usually struggle with cabin fever, but then spring comes around, you get these warm days like this, and that's when I realize, wow, I spent so much time inside in the wintertime. I want to get out and do something in the sunshine. So, kicking things off here, well, we have a lot to get to on the show today, so we're going to jump right in. Coming up, we're going to hear from representatives of the Cache County School District, specifically a principal of a local school, who is going to talk to us about Teacher Appreciation Week. This started on Monday when we had a caller suggest that you go hug a teacher for Teacher Appreciation Week. Someone else called and said, no, don't do that. No one wants a random hug from a stranger, which I have to agree. I'm that person. Don't hug me if I don't know you. In fact, if I know you, give me some warning still. But we're going to be speaking later on from the Cache County School District with Cam Ammett, who is principal of Mountainside Elementary in the Cache County School District. He's going to talk about some teacher success stories from the year and also what you can do to show appreciation for teachers this Teacher Appreciation Week. So, but starting things off here, recently we heard wind of a local gentleman who was a YouTuber and was having a bit of a viral moment. And we all of us here were sharing the video around. It was a video that by a local graphic designer and marketer, a brander, if you will, and also a huge fan of Logan's Heroes. And just for fun, as part of his regular YouTube channel uploads on the channel Super Ordinary, spelled without the E, Super Ordinary, we learned of a man named Devin Mathews, a Logan resident and graphic designer. And he'd put together this kind of a tribute, love story, whatever you want to call it, for Logan Heroes, one of his favorite sandwich shops, he said. And it also gave them a free brand upgrade, if you will. And it went viral. The video currently sitting at 500,000 views, and it's not even a month old yet. And here's just a bit of that video.
I'm a graphic designer. Most of my days are spent clicking, typing, swiping, staring, dragging, dropping, nudging, undoing, saving, and resaving. It's a career that I've loved and have found a lot of satisfaction. But I often feel like when it comes to creativity, I have done very little.
The 20-minute video goes on to detail his work process, how he comes up with designs and logos and how he thinks about branding in general. And then he just voluntarily creates a whole new branding scheme and logo for Logan's Heroes. And it was fascinating. And again, 500,000 views, not even a month old. Well, KVNU and CacheValleyDaily.com's Eric Franson had a chance to track this gentleman down and speak with Devin Mathews about what, for him, this is all about and how it feels as a Logan resident to go viral online.
So maybe you've seen the video because it's definitely gone viral in Cache Valley in northern Utah, but in places even beyond that. But if you haven't, you need to check it out. It's a great video highlighting Logan's Heroes and produced by Devin Mathews, a local graphic design artist. And he's created a new YouTube channel called Super Ordinary, putting out a couple different videos that he's producing as a graphic artist and venturing into some new areas with video. Devin, your first video into this new form highlights Logan's Heroes, local sandwich shop in Logan. It's got a long heritage. It's been around for a long time. And the video goes crazy viral in your first episode. And first, I just want to talk about your background before we get into that, just as a graphic designer. And the premise of this is, of your first video, is with your graphic design background, you just choose a local business to maybe give it a design makeover, and you chose Logan's Heroes. So first, thanks for, at least for starters, being willing to talk to me about this.
Happy to be here.
But also just about the why you chose to focus on Logan's Heroes with your graphic design background. Why did you decide to pick a local sandwich shop to give them a design makeover?
Well, let me kind of go to what you asked, a little bit about my background. I graduated from Utah State and found an interest in motion design, which wasn't taught at Utah State at the time, but I found sort of the best motion design company I could, which is Buck. So anyone who's in that space recognizes them because they do a lot of have a lot of big clients like Apple, Meta, Microsoft, like all the big heavy hitters, Google. Luckily, I don't know how, but I got that job, moved out to LA, and started, coming from a small place over here in Logan to working with some of the biggest clients in the world was a big step and really exciting for me and my wife. But after working on that type of work for so long, you start to feel like you're just this piece in a machine of helping these bigger guys get bigger, helping them sell their next phone, which is great. It pays the bills and you're on some exciting jobs, but anyone who's creative knows that you kind of want a little bit more. You want a little bit more meaning. You want to do something good with the creative skills that you've developed. So around the time of the pandemic, my cousin, he had passed away, and it kind of gave me a moment to really like think about, I was in my 30s. I was hitting around that age where I don't know if it's the new midlife crisis or what you want to call it, but I really sat down and was like, okay, am I on the path that I want to go? Or if I keep doing what I'm doing, will I be happy with my life? And there was a lot of aspects that I was happy, like my family, kids, but the creative part, I felt like I had a lot still in me that I just hadn't been able to express or try or do. So that's kind of when I came up with this idea to do this series that was not only using creativity to do good, but just to try random creative things that I wouldn't otherwise try. So the first episode is definitely in my wheelhouse of graphic design, but in the second episode and the third and the fourth, you'll see it definitely steps outside of my comfort zone of doing just digital things. It goes into more unconventional type things. But why did I decide to do the sandwich shop? Like I said, I learned a lot working with these big companies, and I wanted to use some of what I had learned for good or to help somebody out. And I remember going to Logan's Heroes all the time in college, and Hamid left such an impression on me of how to treat a customer. It was one of those few places that felt like Cheers, where like everybody knows your name. Even though I know he didn't know my name, he treated me like we were best buds. And I think everybody felt that way. So that was like the first place that came to mind of like, I want to do something to help out this place. Unfortunately, he wasn't the current owner at the time, but I still wanted to do Logan's Heroes. I don't even think their branding was the worst branding I've ever seen, honestly, but it was just the place that it was the right place to do something like that for.
Well, and in the course of the video, you don't just, what makes it kind of endearing, what you've put together is it's not just, here's my design expertise and I'm going to look what I can do. Mm-hmm. It's let's figure out what makes this special, what makes this interesting and unique. And let's talk to the people behind it, which was interesting because you go on a car ride with Hamid and you talk to him for a while. You interview some of the other people that are involved with it. And what was that process like for you, just connecting with him and having him share some of his stories about bringing the sandwich shop to Logan and its history?
Well, Hamid is one of the hardest guys to get a hold of. So yeah, like no social media. It took me forever to find a way to contact him. But, once he did, it felt like we became good buddies. And, he told me in his retirement, he fishes a lot. So I'm like, well, instead of just sitting down and talking, let's go fish. And, we didn't catch anything, which was really disappointing because that would have been awesome for footage. But man, yeah, he could talk my ear off. Like he just had so much to share and to say. And, obviously I didn't get to share it all in the episode, but, he cares a lot about the community and so do I. And so it was a great conversation. One thing that was kind of interesting as I was making the episode, I kind of went into it with no intention of what it was going to be. I just kind of told myself, all right, just go film something. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter if it makes sense, but I tend to overthink projects until they die and they never find their way off the ground. So I was like, okay, just go film. As I started filming, this sort of theme of change started creeping in, not only because I felt like I was going through a big change, but Cache Valley was going through this big change and, the mall being torn down and all these things. I wasn't planning on having it be this meaningful episode, but by the end, I think because I wasn't trying to infuse meaning into it, the meaning kind of just more naturally found its way. And surprisingly, once I posted that episode, I got so many messages of people saying how it moved them or how it is making them think differently about how to be creative, and people saying how they were like in tears and stuff like that, which I was just kind of surprised. I was a little shocked by how much it moved people, especially people in creative fields who feel somewhat unfulfilled, and people even just not in creative fields.
Well, one of the comments that struck me in the days after it posted was somebody who said something to the effect of, came for the graphic design, stayed for the Netflix.
Yeah.
Because you do great storytelling too. It's very personal. I mean, you seem to be very open about this is the introduction to this whole series, right?
Mm-hmm.
As you've described kind of your history and coming to this. And I wanted to ask you about some of that. It takes a long time. I'm not in that field, but I can only imagine the amount of time it takes for you to put something like that together.
Mm-hmm.
And then weeding through everything, but also figuring out, how am I going to script this?
Yep.
What's my dialogue? And you make it very, very personal and very relatable too, which makes it really kind of fun to watch. Not just for, I recognize all the buildings and the structures and the people from somebody in Cache Valley, but just the storytelling as well. It's just very commendable how you've kind of approached this.
Yeah, well, I honestly can't tell you how long it took because I was working on it on the hours before and after my full-time job. So I didn't really track my hours, but it took a long time, a lot of footage, and I was figuring out a lot of stuff too. So I did a lot of filming myself talking, which I hated doing, and I wasn't comfortable doing that. I mean, everyone says be authentic and be yourself, but yourself is usually not talking to a camera, so that doesn't feel natural.
Yeah.
And so that was something I kind of had to figure out how to be myself in front of the camera. A lot of that humor and stuff, I found ways to how to do that in the edit. More so than me being a stand-up comedian and trying to, just say funny things. I found a way to portray some humor through the edit. I mean, you saw like the bike scene where it's like there's this contrast between this happy music and this thing that's happening. And I don't know, I felt it was one of the first things I really felt proud of by the end. Like I said, I've worked on a lot of big projects, but it was always to sell someone's thing or whatever. This was one of the first things I really felt proud of at the end, which was kind of one of my goals in the series in general. It's just to make something not only I would feel proud of, but my younger self would feel proud of.
Well, as we've kind of related and mentioned this, that first video really went viral.
Uh-huh.
I don't know what you were expecting, what kind of views or traffic, but you're several 100,000 views now, and it's only been a matter of weeks.
Yeah.
I mean, you're almost 500,000 views so far in just a matter of a few weeks and putting this out there.
Yeah, I definitely wasn't expecting that. I felt like it had the potential to really reach a lot of people, but I knew the reality of starting a YouTube channel, and I didn't have my expectations too high. But I am a big dreamer, so I knew the potential of what it maybe could be. Yeah, I did not expect it to take off like that at the beginning. And to be completely frank, I don't think I mentally prepared myself for what that was like. Because in my head, I'm like, okay, eventually, as I get bigger, there'll probably be some criticisms and this and that. But it all came through the window like almost immediately, where there was a lot of praise and then there was some criticism, and I thought I was ready for the criticism, but it stuck with me for a little bit, and I was like, okay, I got to stay out of these comments. And that was only like 1% of the comments. Everything else was so overly positive that was almost just as hard for me, because I finally got in this space where I'm like, I'm going to make something that feels very me and not care too much about what people think. And now I'm getting all these overly positive comments about how amazing it is. And now I'm starting to care again what people think, and that I have to keep this up. I have to keep up this level, of these episodes. I kind of had to step away and try to get back into like, okay, I need to not care again. Like, I think I probably wouldn't have shot the bike scene if I cared too much about what people think, because it didn't have anything to do with anything. It was just kind of this random idea. So I had to get kind of back in that headspace again, as I've kind of been continuing to make episodes. I can't complain because the comments have all been super positive and supportive. just like minus the one or two critics.
Which there's always, if you put anything out there, there's always going to be somebody who has something to say.
Yep.
So your first one is definitely Logan centric. Logan's heroes, a lot of familiar faces there, and you've released a second episode.
Yep.
Which those who've been in the Valley, this is still something that happened in Cache Valley. It looks like you go up Logan Canyon. That happened last summer. It looks like.
Yeah, it might have been the summer before that even, because technically I recorded this one first.
Oh, really?
Well, I started filming Logan's Heroes, and then I was like, I need to film this one before winter sets in because it's all outside. So I took a break from Logan's Heroes, filmed this one, finished it, went back to Logan's Heroes. That's why my hair length changes so much.
I hadn't even noticed that.
So if you go back and watch it, it's almost like from one scene to the next, I have short hair, then it goes to like long hair. So little, it was, the timeline was a bit all over the place.
We can overlook the continuity errors.
At that point, I've been working on it so long, I was like, I don't care. The continuity's out the window. I just got to get this thing done.
But it looks like you go up Tony Grove area and you go hiking up deeper into the woods to find this lake. And it's just, we're going into the wilderness and just see what we can come up with creatively.
Yep.
And how many days were you out there?
Well, we planned on being there for 2 days, and we ended up being out there for 4. And my wife was extremely nervous because we couldn't contact her. And so, we were supposed to be back down the mountain, and she's like, where are they? Like, are they okay? But we had got halfway through the project and realized this could turn out really cool. We just need a couple more days to finish it. Because we didn't really have an expectation of what we were going to make. We had a few ideas, but the whole concept of the second episode, for those who haven't seen it, is creating within a constraint. And so we went up in the mountains and only used the stuff we could find around us, and tried to make something creative, some kind of art piece or, just anything. And that's kind of stepping away from our devices a bit, being able to choose what color and being able to resize and redo anything that we want whenever we want. We're so used to that as digital artists. So yeah, it was kind of pushing ourselves outside of our regular work days and our comfort zone. And
it was your brother?
That was my brother, yeah. And I've been trying to get him to be sort of the number 2 guy on the show. So we'll see. We'll see if I can pay him eventually. Right now, I just,
because he makes an appearance in the Logan's Heroes episode too.
Yep. So far I've done everything myself, but when I need someone to shoot a shot that I can't shoot myself, he's sort of the guy.
Conversation again with Devin Mathews, a Logan-based graphic designer and brander who went viral last month. His YouTube videos, the one specifically at the center of this conversation, has 500,000 views. A tribute to one of his favorite college haunts, he said, Logan's Heroes, but also kind of telling the story of how Cache Valley's changing. And this video just took off. We caught wind of it, and we were able to track Devin down. And again, Devin Mathews, our guest this hour, in conversation with CacheValleyDaily.com and KVNU's Eric Franson. We'll get back to our conversation with Devin right after this look at the news with KVNU's Will Feel Right.
Well, thank you, Jason. A 42-year-old West Jordan woman is behind bars for her role in stealing thousands of dollars in construction equipment from a Cache Valley contractor several years ago. Vanessa Petito Navarez was ordered to serve 30 days in the Cache County Jail and then be placed on probation. According to court records, Navarez was sentenced last week in Logan's First District Court after she had previously pleaded guilty to theft, a second-degree felony. Now, according to prosecutors, Navarez and Matthew Derek Peterson stole a construction trailer in Providence during the nighttime hours of August 25th or 26th in 2022. Now, it contained more than $10,000 worth of mostly new tools belonging to a local contractor. Several days later, an off-duty deputy located the stolen trailer abandoned in a campsite. Now, it had been stripped and emptied of its contents. A couple days after that, deputies with the Bear Lake County Sheriff's Office located the defendant's truck in Paris, Idaho. It was registered to Peterson, and the tire tread matched the tracks from the campsite where the abandoned trailer was found. Now, investigators also located several of the stolen items inside the truck. However, most of the items were gone, and photos from Navarez's cell phone showed some of the stolen items laid out presumably to show potential buyers. Now, during last week's sentencing, Judge Brian Cannell ordered Navarez to begin serving her sentence on May 2nd, and he also scheduled her to appear again in court June 11th for a restitution hearing. Now, Peterson, meanwhile, is currently in the Utah State Correctional Facility serving a sentence of 1 to 15 years. Well, Utah leads the nation when it comes to high school budgeting education, ranking number 1 overall, according to a new Wallet Hub report. Now, the state earned first place in 5 of the study's 11 key metrics that included requirements that students take personal finance and economics courses, along with math proficiency among 8th graders and top financial literacy grade, both now and projected through 2028. Now, Utah also ranked 17th for national financial literacy test scores and 25th for the share of high schools ranked in the top 10 nationally. Now, Wallet Hub analysts say that the state's robust curriculum and strong policy mandates are preparing students to make smarter financial decisions. Now, Idaho came in around half, ranked 23rd among the 50 states, while Wyoming was near the bottom of the list, coming in 48th. Utah was involved in one of the largest fentanyl busts in Drug Enforcement Administration's history. 16 people were arrested with record-breaking amounts of fentanyl, cash, firearms, and vehicles taken across multiple states. Now, Attorney General Pam Bondi said in a press release that this historic drug seizure, led by the DEA, was a significant blow against the Sinaloa cartel, and it removes poison from our streets and protects American citizens from the scourge of fentanyl. Now, according to DEA's acting administrator Robert Murphy, the case represents DEA's largest single seizure of fentanyl pills to date. He said that behind the 3 million fentanyl pills that they seized are destructive criminal acts that were thwarted and American lives that were saved. Now, this wasn't just a bust, they noted. It was more of a battlefield victory against a terrorist-backed network that has been pumping death into our cities. Well, it's been a gorgeous afternoon, and it's going to stay this way through the rest of the day as we've had temperatures in the low 70s today. Tonight will drop to around 47 overnight, then be back into the mid-70s for tomorrow, high 70s on Friday, and get ready for it. This weekend is going to be gorgeous. Saturday, temperatures around 83 before a chance of showers and thunderstorms comes in for Sunday. And it's news and weather brought to you by Edson Builders. They recently teamed up with Innovative Home Finishes. And if you're on a budget or building your forever home, they promise better home building experience and high quality. It's Edson Builders and Innovative Home Finishes. Call them today at 232-2680. And I'm Will Feelwright with your KVNU News Headlines.
Today's hearing aid technology can improve not only your life, but the lives of the people who care about you. Once again, you'll be able to hear the reason for their laughter and understand conversations. Dr. Paul Danes at Cache Valley Hearing and Audiology will customize a hearing improvement program to meet your unique requirements, whatever they are. Call Cache Valley Hearing and Audiology for an appointment and let them show you how.
Bring back what you've been missing. Bring back Cache Valley Hearing and Audiology.
This is Tron Arnold of Edward Jones, bringing the daily financial market report for May 7th, 2025. Equity markets closed higher on Wednesday on the news that the U.S. and China have set trade talks for this weekend in Geneva, Switzerland. While the outcome of these meetings is uncertain and a U.S.-China trade deal would likely be complex and require extensive negotiations, any de-escalation would be positive for the economy and financial markets in our view. We believe even a temporary reduction in tariffs to allow for further talks could help alleviate some of the recent disruption in trade. Bond yields fell, with the 10-year Treasury yield at 4.28%. In international markets, Asia was mostly higher as China eased policy to help offset the impact of tariffs. Europe was down as Eurozone retail sales grew 1.5% year over year in March, ahead of estimates for a 1.4% rise. The U.S. dollar advanced against major international currencies. In commodity markets, WTI oil was down near a 4-year low on continued concerns with oversupply from OPEC+. With markets up, the Dow was up 285 points, closing at 41,114. NASDAQ was up 49 points at 17,738, and the S&P was up 24 points at 5,631. And in the stocks of local interest, Autoliv was up 39 cents at 93.70. Chevron was up 19 cents at 135.79. Home Depot was up $3.37 at 362.75. Kroger was down 59 cents at 72.38. Nucor was down $1.70 at 115.15. Walmart was up 28 cents at 98.83, and Meta was up $9.50 at $596.81 a share. This has been today's financial market report, brought to you by Edward Jones and Tron Arnold, member SIPC, serving individual investors with personalized attention and long-term financial advice at 135 North Main in Logan. If you want more information, feel free to give us a call at 435-753-2915.
If your saving for retirement approach involves the phrase, "I'll get around to it someday," Edward Jones can help. When it comes to meeting your goals, time can be on your side. And there's no better time than now to get started toward your retirement goals. Edward Jones Financial Advisors can help. Stop by one of the 11 Edward Jones offices in Cache Valley. Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Member SIPC.
This Mother's Day, surprise mom with a watch from S.E. Needham Jewelers. With the purchase of $149 or more, receive dinner for two and a spring bouquet of flowers. Choose from a large selection of Seiko, Citizen, Tissot, and Fossil watches. All watches are priced at internet pricing. You'll enjoy a large selection of quality watches at the best possible price. All watches are backed by our in-store watch technicians with free watch band adjustment and lifetime battery changes. Remember, dinner for two and flowers with the purchase of $149 or more. S.E. Needham Jewelers, middle of the block, at the sign of the clock.
Hi, this is Gordon Deal. Thursday on This Morning, America's First News. Conservative media is gaining added exposure under the second Trump administration. Here are the outlets and personalities thriving. Also, the air traffic control system in the United States has had problems for years. Here are estimates on how much it'll cost to upgrade and why so many of us are spending time shopping at warehouse stores. Thursday on This Morning, America's First News. From 4 to 6 on News Talk KVNU, 610 AM and 102 FM. Your station for news and talk.
Welcome back to KVNU's For the People. Coming up, we'll kick off hour 2 with Mountainside Elementary Principal Cam Abbott, of the Cache County School District. He's going to be talking to us about Teacher Appreciation Week, ways you can celebrate. We'll also hear some stories of teacher success throughout the school year that is just about to wrap up. So Cam joining us at 5 o'clock. Tomorrow on the program, just want to let everyone know, after the For the People Theater Hour with Charlie Schill, in hour 2 of tomorrow's program, we will be joined by all of the new leadership of the Cache County Republican Party. That's right. I reached out to the chair. She's going to join us, and she says she's going to drag everyone else in with her, make them all do it. So we'll have a full studio in hour 2 tomorrow, and if you are a Cache Republican and haven't had a chance to meet or talk with these folks, all of your new leadership will be here in the studio tomorrow on the program. So jumping right back into it here, though, a conversation that we were able to make happen about a gentleman, a graphic designer here in Logan that went viral. One of his videos on his Super Ordinary Utah YouTube channel, super spelled without the E, Super Ordinary, Devin Mathews has almost 500,000 views on a video that is less than a month old. This went viral first around northern Utah, and then it started to reach out, and now it's got comments from even overseas, things like that, 40,000 likes. The video was a love story, kind of a tribute to one of his favorite college shops here in the Cache Valley. As a student, he said he spent a lot of time at Logan's Heroes, and he wanted to give them a voluntary brand and marketing upgrade with a new logo and more, but he also wanted to kind of tell the story, not just of developing that brand for them that they didn't ask for, he just did this voluntarily, but also the story of how Cache Valley is changing. It's a fascinating story that he has to tell, and we'll get right back into it again. CacheValleyDaily.com and KVNU's Eric Franson had a chance to sit down with Devin Mathews, the man who's unexpectedly dealing with a big viral moment.
So there's a little history. We used to make music videos as kids with our cousins, and that's kind of where I learned how to edit and to storytell. And that was sort of like the purest creative moments of my life, because there was no YouTube. There was nowhere to share these things. We were just making it because we enjoyed it and we'd show our family the things we made. And to be honest, it went on probably too long. We were like, I was approaching high school, and it was this embarrassing thing I didn't want to show anybody because, you know, being from a small town, it's just kind of a weird, a weird thing to make music videos with your cousins. But I enjoyed it so much. It just didn't feel like there was a path for me there. I didn't know how to get in a career like that. So graphic design was sort of the practical, creative route that I found, which I'm glad I did because I think I learned a lot that's informed what I'm doing now. There was always kind of a part of me that always enjoyed doing that so much. And I think that's why I went into motion design, because there's like a bit of that storytelling involved. When I say I'm hoping I'm making something my younger self can be proud of, I think it's because that's when I felt like I was just making stuff for the pure enjoyment of it, probably in its like purest form.
You and your brother go up into the woods up Logan Canyon.
Uh-huh.
You create a piece of art on the ground out of rocks of the rock.
Yep.
Did you then just leave it and hope other people might stumble upon it and see your work? Or did you guys, after you were done, put things back or at least clean up your space?
Well, yeah, I'm an Eagle Scout, so there was a part of me that's like, maybe we should put all this back, but I'm an artist too. I'm like, oh, it's just so great. So we left it. We sure did. And I don't know, I guess all the ants that lost their home will find a new home under the rock's current face. But yeah, it was one of the hardest things I think I've done. It was every single day for 4 days hauling rocks and just living off of freeze-dried food. And I think I lost like 15 pounds in 4 days. Yeah. When we got home, I was like, man, I should do this all the time, because I'm actually like getting rid of that dad belly. But I think I gained it all right back the same night I came home, because I just kind of gorged myself on all the bad, junk food and burgers and stuff. Yeah, it was interesting.
So with the work that you put into these, I mean, it's high production value.
Mm-hmm.
As you've kind of expressed, you're kind of learning things. You've had some experience with some of this, but how much of this is, I'm going to try some new things, and whatever comes of it, we'll use some of it we can't. But feels like you watching them. I mean, I've only watched 2 episodes, and I don't know your full background, but it certainly feels like you're trying to push the envelope of what you can do creatively based on the tools that are more now available to creators anywhere.
Yeah, no, that's a big part of it is trying out different ways of editing. And in the 4th episode, you'll see we do a little bit of stop motion, just trying things that we haven't before. And sometimes it fails and sometimes it doesn't look great, but I think that's just kind of part of it. One thing I wanted to sort of accomplish with the series is now that we're kind of entering into this new age of creativity with AI, and there's a lot of uncertainty with the creative fields and jobs and everything. One thing I have felt a lot as I see AI artworks and stuff is that the results are often amazing, but there is no process. It completely takes out the process. It generates for a bit and you have a result. So a big focus I wanted to have was the process. So if you watch, episode 1 and episode 2, there's not a lot of focus on the end result. It basically shows the end product without even talking about it that much.
Yeah, true.
And that's it. Most of the episode is the process. And I think that's kind of how I want to continue to create the episodes, because I think that is what resonated with a lot of people, was not, hey, look at all my amazing work, look at all this finished work, but I show a little bit about the design process and how you have a lot of self-doubt. You get, you kind of get in your head about whether you are a good designer or not, even when you are a professional designer. And so, yeah, I think that resonated with a lot of people, and I think that's something I'm going to continue doing throughout the series.
Yeah, the sculpture, if that's what we can call it, of the rock really only appears on the screen for maybe 30 seconds, a minute.
Yep, I mean, don't even talk about it. It just shows it.
It's there. It's just, it's all about the whole journey that you guys had to come up with what it is that we're going to do once we're up here and we're working on it. And we don't even know from the viewer, like, what exactly it is until the very, very end.
Yep.
And that's, it's all about that process.
Well, and what would make the most sense as far as getting viewership goes is have a thumbnail that shows the rock made out of rocks and say, I made the rock out of rocks. That would probably get a lot of attention, but I want the viewer to experience that surprise, that moment when you're not expecting it. And I don't want to rob people of that, I guess.
You've kind of already mentioned you have a few more that you're already in the process of finishing. Is there, now that you've got a few in the can that have published, you already have a few others that you're just in the various stages of finishing. Is this with the time and effort that goes into producing this, I mean, how many more can you foresee doing, or will this be, there's going to be a quote unquote season, and then there's going to be some time off to catch your breath and think about the next stage, and then there'll be another season that comes out?
Well, I kind of decided to do it in seasons, more so for the reason of not burning myself out. I did a little research on YouTubers and burnout, and it being a very common thing when you're trying to put out an episode every 2 weeks or every month, or depending on how high production your videos are. And I didn't want to put myself, create my own prison essentially, where I'm so tied to like, I have to make sure I have this out at this time. I still want to, make a lot of episodes and make sure I'm not slacking by any means. The fourth episode, when it comes out, you'll see it took a long time to make. The third episode didn't take so long to make. And I want to have some leeway as I work on these episodes to be able to experiment still. I think the moment I feel like I can't experiment is probably when the creativity starts dying a little bit. And so obviously it's still a business, and you got to figure out how to make money, and you got to figure out, if I want to do this full time, which I do, how to make it profitable. But that's the hard thing about creative businesses. They're kind of at odds a little bit. And so,
Is there a goal to hope to see this take off to a certain degree, that this can be your focus, or is there always going to be an element of, I have to do this other job, and this is a fun side gig, or can that somehow flip to be, this is what you'd like to focus on ultimately?
It's definitely what I would like to focus on. In fact, I made the first 2 episodes, and in the first episode, there's a little bit where it flashes through some of the projects I've worked on at my current job. But I knew I probably needed to ask permission to show those, because some of those we sign NDAs for and things like that, where they're working with big clients. I showed it to the design lead at my work, and they loved it, and it spread throughout my work. They were showing it to all the other leads, and it eventually got to the current or the previous owner of the company, and he saw it, and he messaged me and said he wanted to fund future episodes.
Wow.
And so if you've seen the description, I say it's made, I can't remember the exact wording, but it's made in partnership with Buck, and It's Nice That, which is, Buck is the place I work, and It's Nice That is sort of one of their partners. So after I made the first 2 episodes, we've kind of been in talks, and they've given me some time off from work to work on episodes. I think they feel very confident that this could make it on beyond YouTube and whatnot. And we'll see. Who knows? I don't know what the future of the series looks like, but I know I want to be able to pursue it full time if I can.
Well, actually, that leads to one of my last questions, is that I have seen, I was reading something recently that particularly Netflix, I know there's a lot of other platforms out there, but Netflix particularly seems to be recognizing that YouTube is an increasing competitor, what their business model is, but they are actually making deals with getting content from YouTube and repurposing it as episodic content on Netflix. And so they're looking for series, episodic stuff like that kind of fits with what you're kind of hoping for.
Yeah, no, it's an interesting time right now in the entertainment business, because it used to be where if you got offered a Netflix gig, that was the obvious way to go. It's slowly becoming where I don't think it's as obvious if that is. I mean, obviously it'd be like awesome if it came to that, because you get a lot of cachet having a Netflix show, and you reach a lot of audience who doesn't. I don't even go on YouTube for entertainment. I go on to YouTube, learn how to fix something I don't know how to do.
Videos,
yeah, exactly.
Whatever, right, yeah.
But so not everyone goes on YouTube for entertainment, so you reach a whole new audience that might not see your stuff otherwise. But you might give up some creative control when you get other people involved. And so I'm definitely open to if something like that happens, but I'm also want to make sure I'm doing, again, I don't want to create my own prison from this thing. Money isn't everything. And I think having a work-life balance and be able to make things the way I want to make them are definitely a high priority for the show as well. So we'll see. It might not ever happen, but I definitely have it on my mind as a possibility. Yeah, we'll see.
And then lastly, just any advice that you might have to other creatives out there. We're starting to see the front-facing aspect of what you've done. This has been something that's been in the works for quite some time for you.
Yep.
So you've put in a lot of initial time investment to get this going. But any advice you'd have so far in the early stages of this process for you that you could maybe share with other creatives who are out there looking at graphic design or putting things together like you've done with some of the storytelling that you've been able to accomplish so far?
I think one of the messages, I guess, that I think this series is hoping to portray, which would be my advice for people, is don't wait for your big opportunity. Don't wait for the big project to come that's going to give you your shot. Start where you're at. That's what I decided to do with this. Instead of waiting for my dream projects or one day I'm going to do this thing, I decided, why not now? Why not use what I have around me? Don't expect anyone to give you that opportunity. Everyone else is trying to make their own way. Make your own way. There's room, there's space. I think people are looking for human things right now in a space that's becoming increasingly less human, I guess. Start with what you have, start with where you're at. Let those who are indecisive continue to be indecisive, and just be decisive. So decide you're going to do the thing you want to do. That's easier said than done. It's a lot of work to find the time to do that kind of stuff, but there's never enough time. There's never enough money. So you might as well just start now. Don't regret things that you didn't accomplish, I guess.
Well, Devin, thanks for your time. It's exciting to see what you've done, and we'll keep an eye on future projects.
Thanks. Yeah, appreciate it. It was nice to get on here and chat with you.
Conversation again with Devin Mathews, a local marketer and graphic designer who runs a YouTube channel called Super Ordinary, without the E, SUPR, Super Ordinary. And one of his videos went viral, 500,000 views in under 3 weeks. It's a tribute to Logan's heroes, but also Cache Valley and how things have changed throughout Devin's life since he was a college student, spent a lot of time eating at Logan's Heroes. And then he also gave him a voluntary logo update. It's a fascinating story, and Devin is a born storyteller. All of his videos are interesting and fun to spotlight. A Cache Valley native having some success here, though he says, as you heard, speaking with Eric there, he didn't expect it. He's not sad about it. And viral moment, sending his Super Ordinary brand international at this point. So check out his videos and more in the CacheValleyDaily.com story, Sandwiches, Sculptures, and Soul Searching. Meet the guy making Logan feel super ordinary by Eric Franzen. And thanks to Eric and Devin, of course, for being a part of the show here today. Stay tuned. Coming up in hour 2, of course, we have Cam Abbott, president of Mountainside Elementary, talking about Teacher Appreciation Week. And again, if you are a Republican Party member here in Cache County, all of your new leadership will be with us in hour 2. The chair, the vice chair, they're all joining us to introduce themselves to you, and we'll take some calls. All of that coming up in hour 2. We'll wrap up hour 1 right after this.
News Talk 610 AM, 102.1 FM, KVNU.
Building a home is one of life's biggest investments. You want it done the right way, the honest way. Edson Builders has teamed up with Innovative Home Finishes, 2 of Cache Valley's best, to give you a better home building experience. No cookie cutter designs, no cutting corners, just exceptional homes built exactly the way you want. And right now, you may qualify for a $20,000 first-time home builder incentive. Call 232-2680. That's 232-2680, or visit edsonbuilders.com.
Treat your mom to the very best this Mother's Day. The Elements Restaurant's delicious brunch buffet, complete with roasted New York loin, slow-roasted turkey carvings, almond-encrusted salmon, deep-fried shrimp, fried chicken, and more. Along with breakfast options including made-to-order omelets, hot pancakes with maple or coconut syrup, sausage, bacon, crepes, and many more delicious dishes, including a full dessert bar. Because she's special. Treat mom to extraordinary. Mother's Day brunch from Elements, Sunday, May 11th from 11 a.m. till 2. For reservations, please call 750-5151. That's 750-5151.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. Maybe you're not sure how you'll make rent, or you lost your job. When you don't know where to turn, let 211 be your guiding light. Our guides are ready to connect you with the help you need.
211, how can I help you?
Call or visit 211.org. 211. Get connected. Get help. A message from United Way and the Ad Council.
On the next Handle on the Law.
How about this?
what if I run for president and I say I'm the best one, and I have a radio station, and I talk to millions of people? So, Tim, by the way, I still don't know how to spell your name because I don't care. I'm running for president. Here's how to spell my name. How?
Saturday afternoons from 1 to 4 on News Talk KVNU, 610 AM and 102.1 FM, the voice of Northern Utah.
That's it for hour one of today's show, but hope you'll stick around. Last Saturday, May 3rd, Cache County Republican Party delegates elected brand new leadership, all new names and faces. And Chair Natalie Levi and others will be joining us in hour two of today's show to talk about their plan as chair, vice chair, secretary, and treasurer, all new names and faces again. Going forward for the Cache GOP, what the next year or two for them will entail. And, of course, phone lines will be open. If you have a question for the new leadership of the Cache County Republican Party, all of them will be in here in the studio with us next hour. But we'll kick off next hour with another special guest. Principal of Mountainside Middle School, Cam Abbott, is joining us to answer a listener-requested question. How can you celebrate Teacher Appreciation Week this week? On Monday's show, we had a caller say, give a teacher a hug, and then a follow-up caller say, do not do this. No one likes random hugs from strangers. That kind of made me laugh, but got me thinking as well. So we reached out to the Cache County School District, and, Cam drew the short straw, I guess. Or volunteered, I'm not sure. But either way, he, the principal of Mountainside Middle School, elementary school, will be joining us next hour to talk about success stories from the year, some cool teacher stories from this last school, or the school year just wrapping up as the last few days are upon us, but also how you can show appreciation for teachers this Teacher Appreciation Week in the Cache County School District. Cam Abbott, principal of Mountainside Elementary School, is next, followed by the brand new leadership of the Cache County Republican Party. It's a full hour next hour. Stick around. We'll get right to it after this quick break here on KVNU Logan.
Keeping you informed 24/7. News Talk KVNU Logan, 610 AM and 102.1 FM.